and read it as I have done. I'm not selling any. I don't make a dime off it. You'll have to find it. If you claim to be a prophecy preacher, read this book. In this book, which is El Hassan's latest book, it has come out post 9/11. And he recognizes this new clash of civilizations, the post-11 struggle between Islam and the West. And El Hassan writes this current work to offer his personal answers and assurances that Islam means us no harm, by the way. After all, Islam is a peaceable and just religion, you know. And this book spells out his goals, his agenda, and his mission more completely than anything else he's written. This one book merits an entire message all its own. And I'm telling you, it's must-reading if one seeks to accurately and fully picture this unique man. The book back cover, that's all I have time to give you. Just read a book by its cover, right? The back cover says this. This book is an incisive personal statement about the essence of Islam by one of the world's leading advocates of interfaith dialogue and understanding, Prince El Hassan bin Talal of Jordan. There's much ignorance about Islam in the West, and negative opinions of Islam feed on that ignorance. The views and attitudes about Islam in public dialogue since the Osama bin Laden-inspired terrorist attack on September 11, 2001 require a response. A response that sets Islam in a light that shows its fundamental belief structures and its humanity. The core of this book is a statement of belief in a question-answer format that allows Islam's basic tenets to be quickly grasped with a wide audience. And Prince El Hassan's answers are precise and informative. And it continues and concludes with this. He presents a persuasive argument that the beliefs and culture of the majority of the Islamic world not only are compatible with, but are contributive to a world at peace. A world of diversity in which Muslim and non-Muslim nations can and should collaborate to create a more humane and just global society. He cites that the Quran, the Hadith, and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, and he describes how most of Islam, during most of its history, has applied the teachings of the Prophet so as to treat other ethnic groups, cultures, and faiths, quote, especially the Jewish and Christian monotheists, with respect, tolerance, and fairness. You see, you guys are all wet. You went to that prophecy conference, and they indoctrinated you and told you that Islam didn't want peace. And after all, if anybody can speak for Islam, it's the descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, and he's going to tell you how Islam has been so wonderful to embrace the Jewish and Christian monotheists with respect and tolerance and fairness. Once again, we're reminded of the words of Daniel the prophet, because he said, "But he shall come in peaceably, and he'll obtain the kingdom by flatteries." January 28, 2004, the New School University in New York, a forum entitled A Muslim Centrist Platform for Democracy in the Arab World. Big, long sentence, but that's what it is. It was sponsored by Dialogues, an organization for Islamic world, U.S. and the West. This organization's board of advisors, by the way, includes numerous political and religious luminaries from across the globe. Prince El Hassan gave the major presentation, surprise, surprise, and was followed by a panel discussion including Prince El Hassan, Mustafa Talili, who's the founder and director of Dialogues, Bob Kerrey, who is president of the university and former U.S. senator, and none other than Stephen Rockefeller. Now let me just tell you a little bit of what happened in this Dialogues gathering. Mustafa Talili began the discussion by praising Prince Hassan for bringing hope to the sad landscape of the Arab world today. Talili noted that the prince's adherence to the values of tolerance, reason, and human rights has been an inspiration for the Muslim people. Bob Carey told the audience about the accomplishments of Prince Hassan, who's been honored by more than 20 countries and has risked his life over and over again for the sake of dialogue. And Carey welcomed the prince as a, quote, friend of peace and freedom. And then Stephen Rockefeller. You've heard the name, haven't you? Surely you've heard the name. Stephen Rockefeller made these perhaps prophetic comments. Quote, "Good evening. First of all, I'd like to express my profound gratitude to Prince Al Hassan for accepting the invitation to share with us his courageous vision of a Muslim-centrist platform for democracy in the Arab world." Still quoting, Stephen Rockefeller said Prince Al Hassan's branch of the Hashemite family is directly descended from the Prophet Muhammad, and he occupies a unique place as a spiritual, social, and political leader in the 42nd generation. Stephen Rockefeller continued to say this, "Your Royal Highness, your participation in this evening's dialogue provides all of us with a rare opportunity to deepen our understanding of the great spiritual tradition of Islam, the contemporary situation in the Arab world, and promising paths to democratic social change, human development, and peace in the Middle East and worldwide. As the world enters a global phase in development, the peoples and nations of the world have a choice. Under the influence of ancient prejudice and ignorance and narrow self-interest, we can engage in a destructive clash of cultures and religions, or, recognizing that we share a common humanity and planetary home, we can cooperate and support each other in building an equitable, sustainable, and peaceful global society that respects cultural diversity and accepts pluralism. There is no greater social and spiritual challenge today than the pursuit of the latter goal in our local communities and globally. And tonight's dialogue on the future of the Arab world and on building better relations between the U.S. and the Islamic world is of central importance to this undertaking." Now, folks, if some Joe Blow nobody had said something like that, it wouldn't mean much. But it was Mr. Stephen Rockefeller telling all these people that in our new global world that we must face head on, we've got a choice to make. Either we're going to go back the way of all this religious, bigoted, he didn't use the word bigoted, but you know how he says it there, the destructive clash of religions. Or we can embrace a peaceful global society. And in the same message, he says, "And we recognize you, Prince Al Hassan. After all, you're a Hashemite. After all, you've given your life for these purposes. After all, you're a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, the 42nd generation. Are any lights coming on anywhere?" Now, I'm glad the man's right here. I'll say it right in front of you, man of God. All those familiar with Dr. Perry Stone's writings and prophetic teachings about the coming man of sin know that he has documented thoroughly that the Islamic world itself has its own prophecy doctrines concerning a coming end of time, which involves a coming Mahdi. How many of you have ever heard Perry preach about the coming Mahdi? Okay, there you go, Perry. Perry has drawn numerous parallels between the biblical teaching concerning the Antichrist and how the expected Mahdi from the Muslim world could in fact line up as the very same personage, right? What perhaps you have not known until now is that the Islamic writings themselves give us several key identifying characteristics, because the Islamic world and the world at large must be able to identify the Mahdi when he comes. And there's 5 distinctive signs. Do you want me to quit or do you want me to give them to you?